Dr. Martin Williams here. I just want to reach out to you and just say Shake the Nations was an amazing event, an amazing conference. We had Dr. Myron Golden with us. Man, did he serve us and drop so many bombs, open up our minds, and made us rethink our lives. So I'd like for you, I want you to watch this entire video. It is the time that I got to ask him questions, sort of like a podcast, but I also allowed our executive track people to ask him questions and answer them too. He's so full of wisdom and knowledge, and not just that, but showing us not what to do, but also how to do it. So I want you to watch the entire video so that you can be tapped in and you can know what we're offering. I am really excited and glad and really pleased that that Dr. Golden could take our invitation to be here with us in Omaha. And yeah, we really appreciate you coming. When you travel, what what are the top issues you really feel like that you need to deal with when you're talking to people like us? You really need to hone in and teach us or show us something.
It really depends on where I am and interactions that I have when I get there. I was talking to Josh, and we were talking about Sunday, and I'm like, I don't have any idea what I'm going to speak on Sunday. I didn't know what I was going to speak on last night until I got here. And some people would think that that means I'm not prepared, but it doesn't mean I'm not prepared. It means I just don't write sermons. I study the Bible so I can apply it. And so because I study it so I can apply it, I don't have to have an outline in front of me. I just had my Bible open, and because that's how I do it. Because I had a friend of mine tell me a long time ago that a prepared messenger is better than a prepared message. And so I do my best to just be a prepared messenger. And so I literally just listen for what people are saying and pick up a vibe from the energy from the people that are around me. And that's kind of what guides the direction that I go when I'm speaking at a kingdom conference or even at a church or whatever. I don't, because if I probably shouldn't say it that way. But for me, I'll say it like that. For me, I feel like if I have to look at notes on a paper to know what I'm supposed to say, do I really know it anyway? Right? If you become your message, right, then all you need to do is be the message. So that may not have been an answer.
That's the answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's how I do it. And there are some foundational principles because Genesis has impacted my life. The whole Bible's impacted my life greatly. I don't want to be confusing like that. But like I had been reading the Bible for a very long time, and then all of a sudden I stumbled into Genesis, started finding everything. I was like, whoa, what was that? And so I believe that most followers of Christ, believers, don't have any idea what the Bible is saying and what it has already said in general, but especially in Genesis. And so if I'm teaching business concepts, I know that there are strongholds that people have. And they have strongholds around wealth, and they have strongholds around finances, and they have strongholds around money. And a stronghold is a wall of protection that you build around a lie in your mind. That's what a stronghold is. So I believe a lie, but I'm protecting the lie. And so oftentimes the first thing that I'm going to do when I go in and teach is I'm going to tear down a stronghold, because the two problems with a stronghold are, number one, they don't let the lie get out. So the person keeps acting on it. But the other problem is they don't let the truth get in. And so I just feel like we have to use the word to tear down the strongholds. So the lie can be like demolished and the truth can replace it. And so that's why last night, I know things that people believe because I have conversations with people about money all the time. And when people say stuff, I'm thinking, what does that even mean? Like I don't have the ability, like I cannot relate to what you just said. Like I asked one of my clients a long time ago, probably 30 years ago, one of my clients, I said, So how's business going? They said, well, I'm really trying. I thought, that's really fascinating because I'm not really trying. And I thought, And I realized that everybody's experience isn't like mine. And it's not because I'm special. It's just because I have a perspective that's very, very different than what the world would have us believe. So, if that makes sense.
How did you form that perspective?
I don't know that I formed it. I believe that over time, I believe that God, Romans 12:1 and 2'd me, right? Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And the word renew means to renovate. And so if you're renovating your mind, you're tearing out all the old thoughts and you're replacing them with new thoughts. If you think about the word the world and you think about the word, there's one letter difference. That's the letter L, right? And so I had to remove all the world thoughts and replace them with word thoughts. And when I did that, I was able to do different things because the things that we do are based on the thoughts that we have and the beliefs that we hold as truth. And so I just replaced cultural, hypnotic, societal mechanism programming with Bible. And it changed my life. And that's why when I'm teaching, it's so biblically intense because I don't want people to think that it's me. Anything that God has ever done, he's done through his word. Anything he will ever do, he will do through his word. If he's going to change your life, he'll change your life through his word. And if I come and give you something other than the word of God, then I have done you a great disservice, if that makes sense.
You were talking about Satan taking Jesus high up to see all the kingdoms of the world. And if you bow down to me, I'll give them to you.
Yeah.
But I feel like you didn't finish saying what you wanted to say about that whole thing.
Well, the thing that I wanted to say then was, who gave Satan the keys to the kingdom? For that was delivered unto me, and to whomsoever I will, I give it. Well, who do you think Satan wants to deliver the power to build kingdoms to? His children or God's children? He wants to deliver the power to build kingdoms to his children. He still knows what it takes to build kingdoms. He spent centuries building kingdoms, millennia building kingdoms. And what he does, though, is he does the same thing today that he did 6,000 years ago in the Garden of Eden. He deceives us into believing that a lie is the truth and the truth is a lie. And so Satan knows something you don't know about you. And here's what he knows. He knows he has no ability, no authority whatsoever to block your blessing. He cannot block your blessing. Satan cannot block your blessing. He does not have the ability to do that. So what he does is he mental blocks you from your blessing by making you think that God's divine purpose for you is evil. And so the only way he can keep you from getting your blessing is to make you not desired in the first place. And so most believers walk around, I'm going to heaven, I don't care about. Yeah, but God didn't make you for heaven, he made you for earth. And he made you to rule over the earth. And if you ain't ruling over nothing when he comes back, you ain't probably going to have a whole lot to rule over when he gets here. So we need to start practicing dominion while we're here. And it's not dominion because, see, we think of dominion as dominion over people. It's not dominion over people. It's dominion over an assignment that we use to serve people. That's the difference. So, does that make sense?
It does. It makes sense.
My question is, you said disruption always follows the intention. What's next?
That's funny. Because I had that conversation at lunch with some folks. That's why I'm laughing.
Okay, I'm like, I missed that one.
Yeah, when I said disruption always follows intention. So what's next? Well, why don't I just read it to you? It's in the Bible. It's so amazing. It's right there. By the way, understand that Genesis 1:1 is a framework for accomplishment and high achievement. When has more productivity, you talk about productivity secrets. When has more productivity taken place in the history of the world than God creating everything out of nothing in 6 days? And people say, well, days when it didn't mean real days. Really? Because it said the evening and the morning were the first day. Just because you can't understand how God could do that in a day. He could have made all of it in one day if he wanted to, but he's laying out a framework. Genesis 1:1 is a framework. Okay, so we see that when it comes to the creative process and productivity, in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. So that's the first thing, intention. So creativity begins with intention. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness upon the face of the deep. Disruption always follows intention. But most people get discouraged when disruption follows intention. So what happened next? The Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. So we need to find a source of inspiration after disruption follows our intention. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. Okay, cool. So then we need illumination. An illumination in the form of learning something we didn't know before, so we can see something we couldn't see before, so we can do something we couldn't do before. And then it says, and there was light, and God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. So we see two things there. We see, number one, we see recognition. God saw the light, that it was good. Take time to recognize the progress that you've already made, even when you're not done. And then God separated the light from the darkness. So we have separation. What's so fascinating about separation is that God is a God of distinction. Night is not day. Day is not night. Up ain't down. Down ain't up. Good ain't bad. Bad ain't good. And so we live in a world that thrives on diluting distinction. But we can't fall into that trap. And then it says, and God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. That's called designation. Am I putting anything in there? I'm just asking, okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? And all of us can read the Bible like that. But sometimes, and by the way, I believe that the more you read the Bible, the more familiar you become with it. But what happens is we're so consumed with getting through the Bible that we don't allow the Bible to get through to us. And then it says something amazing. It says, and the evening and the morning were the first day. So God had segmentation to completion. What does that mean? That means God didn't save any of day one's work for day two. God finished day one's day on day. By the way, do you know that's one of the ultimate productivity hacks? If you have 7 projects, you don't work on all 7 of them at the same time. Mm-hmm. You work on one until it's done, and then you do the next one. And the reason you do that is because it will make you far more profitable when you're done with all of them. If I have 5 projects, let's say, and each project takes me a month to get done. But once it gets done, then it makes me, we'll call it $3,000 a month. I'm just making these numbers up. So I start working on all 5 of them at the same time, which means I'm going to get done 5 months later. And then I start making money. But watch this. If I work on this one, and only this one for a month, it is done at the end of month 2 and makes me money in month 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I work on this one until it's done. And it takes me a whole month, but once it's done, it makes me money in month 3, 4, and 5. And I just keep doing the same thing. And so by the time I get to the end of the 6 months, I've made so much more than I would have made had I fumbled around and bumbled around working on all of them at the same time. And we see that in Genesis chapter 1. Finish day one's work on day 1. It's so simple. Anyway, there are too many more to count. Just keep reading Genesis chapter 1 and see what you find. We'll compare notes next time I see you. Maybe I'll come to Rwanda. All right. Was that helpful, brother? Cool.
Was that the only question? Everybody who has a question, just stand up so we know who you are. Oh, okay.
I have one.
Yes, sir.
Can you explain to us the intention of the education system and how it's blocking us from believing what's being taught here this week?
Oh, sure. the intention of the miseducational, misdirectional system, AKA government indoctrination camps, child prisons, whatever you want to call them. The purpose of them. The purpose of them. That's not to say teachers are bad people. Teachers are not bad people. Teachers work for a bad system. Are y'all tracking? So the purpose of them is to manufacture employees for initially for manufacturing businesses. It literally was created as an assembly line for employees for business moguls of old. That's why Dale Carnegie and John Rockefeller gave so much money to miseducation. And you say, but you call it miseducation. Why? Because that's exactly what it is. And if you don't believe that it's miseducation, go educate yourself on the system. Read a book by John Taylor Gatto called Dumbing Us Down, or Weapons of Mass Instruction. John Taylor Gatto was the 5-time Teacher of the Year in New York. 5 times Teacher of the Year. He became disillusioned with teaching because as an English teacher, he thought that he was supposed to teach English, but when he found out that I'm not really teaching English, I'm teaching school. And school teaches lessons that are life lessons, but they're also lie lessons. Like, nothing's important. You know how school teaches us that nothing's important? Because you're working on something until the bell rings, and then you just close your book, turn off your mind, and don't think about it again until the next time you're in that class. I mean, just that by itself. It teaches us that if I learn the way the teacher teaches, I'm smart, but if I learn a different way than the teacher teaches, I'm dumb. And we say that the children have a learning disability, but the real problem is the system has a teaching disability. And then because the teachers and the staff and the faculty and the administration of schools have degrees, then they use your children and attempted to use my children to validate their degree. I had a principal call my house one time. He said, Mr. Golden, your son didn't get his homework done. I said, well, let me help you understand something. It ain't homework. It's schoolwork. Y'all didn't finish teaching them at school. They are not, like y'all are not doing me a favor. I pay y'all to teach them. Do your job. And if you don't want me to send my son to school with a backpack full of dishes they didn't get washed last night, stop sending all this junk to my house. We have a family. It does not make sense for a 15 or a 16-year-old to come home and memorize a bunch of useless information that they will never use in their life for 7 hours at night just so the miseducational system can monopolize their time and rob them of the space in which to think. So anyway, I might be wrong about that, but it don't seem like it.
My question is, what are the 3 things you do daily that you would say set you up to succeed in your purpose?
Can I go a little bigger than that?
Please.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
So I think that everything affects everything else. It's kind of like I talked about this morning with the Fibonacci sequence. You are the sum of your last 2 moves. So if you don't do the right thing, if you continue to do things, it compounds over time. And the thing about compounding is as something's compounding, the bigger it gets, the faster it gets bigger. I spend a lot of time thinking and meditating every day. I read or listen to the Word. The obvious stuff, pray, spend time with my family. But as far as work stuff is concerned, I don't think I do work stuff every day. And I know that probably sounds really odd. Even it sounded odd to me when I said it. That's what made me think it probably sounds odd. But I don't do work stuff every day. Because if you think about, I think one of the biggest problems people who have jobs have when they become entrepreneurs is they think that that being an entrepreneur is like having a job, and that you're getting paid for the work that you do when you do the work. But the reality is, being an entrepreneur means that you're working to build a system, so the system can pay you while you're not working. But in order to build a system that can pay you when you're not working, you have to be okay with the fact that it doesn't pay you in the beginning when you are working. And can you, what's the word I'm looking for? Can you detox from your addiction to a paycheck long enough to work on something that doesn't pay you while you're working on it? Yesterday, I showed you those books. Now, CASHMAN to CASHMAN, I wrote that book in 3 days. But Boss Moves took me 1.5 years. And you know something amazing? That whole 1.5 years I was working on that book, it did not pay me 1 penny. I worked on that thing for a year. Can you imagine working on something for a whole 1.5 years and it don't pay you anything? I've had many things in my life that I've worked on for 1.5 years that didn't pay me. But see, I was okay with that because I knew that it would. And when I say I knew that it would, is it really possible that I knew that it would? No. When I say I knew that it would, that means I believed that it would. And so, so if I could give you some advice on things to do daily as an entrepreneur that will change your life, I think one is take inventory of your thoughts. What does that mean? Think about the things you think about and ask yourself, are they worthy of thought time? And if they're not, stop thinking about them. So take inventory of your thoughts. I think the most important thing you will ever do as an entrepreneur, if you're serious about success, is to learn to empower your expectations and disempower your doubts. Now, I'm not even done. I'm just thinking about how I should say the rest of this. So I'll say it like this. Most people don't realize that belief manifests in 2 forms. Belief can manifest as faith, or belief can manifest as doubt. Doubt and faith are both belief. Faith is belief in the outcome I desire. Doubt is belief in the outcome I don't desire. Faith is belief in the word and the promise of the Father. Doubt is belief in the word and the promise of the foe. And see, I've never even asked myself, I'm not saying I haven't, I'm saying this is true for most people. Most people have never even asked themselves why they believe that thing they believe about the thing they're believing that's holding them back. So empower your expectations and disempower your doubts. And this will be the last thing I'll say, is realize that money is not wealth. Money's not wealth. No, money's not wealth. But if you become wealthy, you'll probably have a lot of money. So what is wealth? Wealth is my ability, your ability. It's our ability. Wealth is my ability to create value for someone other than me. And to the degree that I am able to create value for someone other than me, to that degree I will be wealthy. The more value I create for more people, the more wealthy I become. That's just how it works. And see, the big problem that people have when it comes to wealth creation is their self-absorption. How do you create value for somebody other than you? You create value for someone other than you by obsessing over someone else's problem. See, it feels natural to obsess over my own problem. But if I'm obsessing over my problem, then when I come talk to you, I want you to see what I see about my problem. And you don't care because you don't like me that much. But you love you. You love you so much you spend all your time with you. And so if I obsess over your problem, and I start talking to you about your problem, and I'm talking to you about stuff that there's no way I could know it unless I obsessed over your problem. You feel like Philip felt when Jesus said, "Oh, yesterday when you were, I saw you yesterday when you was under the sycamore tree." Like, how did you? What? Oh, you're right. You start wondering why. How do you know this much about my problem? Well, guess what? I've obsessed over your problem because you're not the first person I ever met who had it. And if I obsess over solving your problem, you believe that my solution to that problem is viable. So that way, when I obsess over other people's problems, I don't have to convince them to buy things from me. I was on vacation for a month. Our business did over $500,000 in revenue while I was gone. I didn't have a conversation. I didn't do a webinar. I didn't do a presentation. I didn't do nothing. You say, Myron, don't you mean I didn't do anything? No, I didn't do nothing. I had a guy I'd never even heard of. Didn't know he existed. 31 years old. Now, how crazily unlikely does this sound? 31 years old. He lives in California. I live in Florida. He lives in Southern California. I live in Florida. Opposite ends of the country. I did not know he existed. He fills out an application, books a call, has a conversation with my brother, and buys a $375,000 VIP day while I'm on vacation. Why? Because I've spent so much of my life obsessing over solving other people's problems that it seems like people can't get enough of hearing from me. And so that's what I would recommend you do with your time. And if you want to, if all of you see, you have this dream of building a 6-figure business or building a 7-figure business, right? But why have you set the bar so low? Why? Here's why. Because you believe it has to make sense. You are attempting to figure out how to do something that makes sense. So basically, you're attempting to figure out how you can do something in which and with which you do not need God. So, was that helpful-ish? Appreciate you, sister. Thank you. Anybody else?
I'll go.
Okay, yes, sir.
You have in one of your videos, you mentioned using a HELOC
Yes.
to pay down your house
Yes.
early. And my
100%.
question is do you have, I've seen a lot of opportunities online to do that, but my question for you today is, do you have a program that teaches the technical of getting that done?
I don't, but there's like I got my first HELOC I think in 1997 or 98, right? So I've been using that principle for a long time. There's a company that teaches a course on it, and I bought the course, and I know it's good. They're not teaching you anything lame.
Okay.
Right? And they even give you a list of resources of banks that you can go to get the HELOCs. Okay? And you can find it online. The guy's name is Larry something. But you can find it online. It's called replaceyourmortgage.com.
Okay. Thank you.
So that's where I would go.
Thank you.
But even I bought his course just because I wanted to see what he was saying. I was doing it before I ever heard of him. Right? So, but I know it works. And so when I was reading it and going through his course, I knew what he was talking about was real because I had already done it. Does that make sense? Okay, cool.
My question is for Dr. Golden. You mentioned in one of your videos to not take notes or to highlight books the first time you read, but to just read the book. And my question is, why do you say just read the book the first time?
It depends on the book, okay? So because if you're taking notes the first time, you're missing some context, right? Like if you're reading it to learn it the first time, you're going to miss some things. There are some books I feel like I need to read every year, right? And so it seems like a waste of time to do it that way. But I think in many cases you'll get more out of it if you do it that way. Sometimes when I'm reading the Bible, I'm not studying the Bible. You know what I'm saying? So reading the Bible is to keep the frame and the context and all the stories familiar. But when I'm studying, that's where the deep dive comes from. Does that make sense? And so
Yes.
the same thing, I want to do the same thing when I'm studying anything that's important, because all truth belongs to God. And so if a book is stating something and it's true because of God's truth, even if they're not referring to God's truth. God's the master artist, the master mathematician, the master musician. He's the master scientist. He's the master biologist. So principles work because God created them and told them to work. So that's what I mean by that.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Good afternoon. My question's for both Dr. Golden and Dr. Williams. How would I effectively communicate or sell a service that, matter of fact, let me rephrase the question. How would I sell value or effectively communicate value to sell a service that solves a problem most people don't even know they have?
Okay.
And I can elaborate if need be, but I
I want to know what the service is.
So basically, so in my case, what I basically do is show people how to take what they already do and sell that to the government agencies that manage all of the resources and commodities that people need. And government contracting, but because I was a former contracting officer, I teach them how to understand it at a deeper level.
So you teach them how to think from the inside out.
Correct.
As opposed from the outside in.
Correct. It's a problem that most businesses have, but they don't even know they have it, so they don't see the value in it.
Okay, so may I ask you a couple of other questions?
Absolutely.
Okay. How much do you sell the service for?
It depends. I typically have to do an assessment. So in some cases, if they just want like a quick consultation call, that could be anywhere from like maybe 500 to 1,000 from 3 to 6 hours, from 2 to 3 hours. I'm sorry. But if they want to go with a full service, a full ongoing consultancy, then that will typically range anywhere from 5 to 10,000 a month.
Okay. So, and is that your only business and primary business, or is that?
That's the main one, because I'm basically teaching them from A to Z how to get registered, but then I give them the full scope of how to actually communicate value to the government.
Right. How much revenue did you generate last year? And you can say, I'd rather not say, and that's fine.
Last year, about 60,000 last year.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to say. How do you best convey the value? Package the value, give the value a name, put the whole thing together as a course that you sell for maybe $2,000.
Okay.
And they go do it themselves. And you sell it to them on an automated webinar. And you run traffic to that automated webinar like your life depends on it. You will make so much more money, and it'll free up your time. So you said something about $600 to so many $1,000 if for a couple of hours to 6 hours. One of the things I'm going to recommend to all of you to do, if you're serious about creating wealth, disconnect your revenue generation from time as soon as you possibly can.
Yeah, because I kind of hate it. I mean, they think I love it because I'm very good at it, but I don't like it.
Right, you love to do it, but you don't love
the time
being anchored. So I hate one-on-one coaching so much, not because I hate being with people one-on-one. I hate one-on-one coaching so much, I just made the price so high that only the elite of the elite will do it.
Yes, exactly.
And everybody else will leave me alone. I charge $40,000 an hour because I don't like to do it. If you're going to make me do something I don't want to do, I'm going to make you pay.
Yeah.
Right? My VIP day, you get 8 hours in a whole year for $375,000. Well, how can you do that? Like this. How much is it? $375,000. And I have totally divorced myself from hoping they buy it. I don't care. Yeah. And so you have to create something that you know is so good that when you're describing it to people, they pick up the vibe. Oh, this is good. See, and here's the thing. When you're the best, nobody expects you to be the cheapest, and when you're the cheapest, nobody will believe you're the best. I have a client who was not a government buying agent. And a former client, she's not a client anymore, but she used to be. She was selling a coaching program to teach the same thing you teach. She was selling it for $40,000 a pop.
Ooh, yeah.
Right? See, we undervalue ourselves because we've been programmed by the job that we had that, okay, well, if I can make $500 an hour, that's good money. Well, it depends on who you ask. I guess it's okay. It's better than $5 an hour, but is it really good money? Right? Because you get the $500, you don't get the time back. Right? So make it work. And then I guess the other thing I would say, you ask how do you put it in words, or how do you state the value? Here's how you do it. Stop talking about your pieces. And you give them a full inventory of all the things that are listed in your, well, you're going to get three of these and 4 of those and 5 of these and 6 of these. Stop selling like that. Stop telling them about your pieces. Stop telling them about your process. You want to show them the process. Well, first we go to this website and we do it, and you do this in the selling process. You go to this website, you do this, and this is what you have to do. You need to look for this person. You show them the process. All you're doing is showing them that this is going to be so hard you don't even want to be bothered with it. You never show somebody the process before they get started. They say, well, that's weird. Well, okay, keep doing it your way. But the reality is, people want to know, is it easy? Does it work? Can I do it? And everything's easy. Here's my definition of easy. It's something you can do or figure out how to do. Right? So don't stop talking about the pieces. Stop talking about the process. Do not include your person in the offer. You get so many hours of my time. People who buy my $55,000 a year coaching program get 0 hours of my time. What? Now they get group coaching. They get many, many hours of group coaching. But individual one-on-one time for $55,000? Child, please. Now, by the way, I'm saying it in this theatrical way so that you can feel how crazy it sounds to me, and hopefully you can adopt that feeling.
That's right.
Okay? And so if it's not about the pieces, and it's not about the process, and it's not about my person, what's the value of my offer? Your offer only has one value: the transformation or the payoff. So when you're talking to people about your offer, the only thing you talk to them about is your payoff, what they get if they say yes. But make sure when you're doing that, you also make sure you help them understand what they get if they say no. Mm-hmm. Because most of us, when we're presenting, we show people how much it costs if they say yes, but we forget to show them how much it costs if they say no. Hopefully that was helpful. Pastor? You want to? Well, he said he wanted to know, answer from both of us.
You just gave the answer I would get.
Okay, praise God.
The duality of pain.
Yep.
The duality of pain. This is really expensive. There's going to be a pain point there because you know, it's too expensive for you. But there's also a thing that happens. Pain comes afterwards if you don't do it.
Right.
If you don't pay for the coaching, how many years are you going to be behind? How many secrets are you not going to know? Because those coaches can open doors for you that you don't even know that they are there.
Anybody in here ever heard of Dr. Darius Daniels? Mm-hmm. Okay, so Dr. Darius joined our coaching program. His business was doing well. It was doing well. I mean, 7 figures well. In 1 year in our coaching program, it was doing 6 times better than it was before he started. And he was in ministry, and so he was kind of wrestling with, how do I talk about business without the people who know me as being the pastor think that I haven't changed my whole gear? All of that was conversations that we've had. And he's one of the people who's earned one of our $1 Million Day awards. We give people awards for generating them. While other coaches are doing their best to help their clients have 6 and 7 figure years, we're actually helping our coaches have 6 and 7 figure days. And we give out awards for that. And I'm talking about Dr. Darius Daniels. I'm talking about Wall Street Trapper. I'm talking about David Chance. I'm talking about Nehemiah Davis. I'm talking about Eileen Wilder. All these people that you see on the internet that are out doing their thing. A lot of them, not all of them. I'm not a genius. I already told you all that. But I have the Bible. All of them learn from me. I created a coaching program based on King Solomon's business model that I found in the Bible, and I didn't go out and start teaching it. You know what I did? I applied it to my own life. And I went from being broke as a joke and ready to choke to having more money than I have time to spend. And so I started teaching it to other people. And I knew it would work as well for them as it did for me. And sure enough, that's exactly how it works. So was that helpful-ish?
It was more than helpful.
Praise God.
Yeah, as opposed to trying to do that and my regular job. So yeah.
Indeed. Well, what happens though is when you understand the value of your offer and you start selling your stuff for what it's worth, and then you set up systems to keep it selling, then you start wondering whether or not you can afford to keep your job. So,
Thank you, sir.
you're welcome. Arthur Lyle, my brother from another mother. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, Coach?
It's all good, brother. How you feel?
Great, great, great. So my question is for us. So how would you teach us how to model your mental syntax, your belief system, and your physiology?
Wow, that's such a great question. My mental syntax is a little chaotic, but it's good. It's good chaotic for me because I don't worry about anything. Like I'm not gonna like people want to pass their stress on to me. Good luck. Good luck. And what I mean by that is, like, I'll have people who feel like they need to know something way far in advance, and I don't know the answer yet, and they'll ask me the question. I don't know yet. That's my answer. Right? So my mental syntax is clarity of direction and decision. See, if somebody asks a question, depending on what the question is, one of the first things I usually do is ask them either what they mean by the question, or I might ask, what's your objective? So, like, how do you model my mental syntax? By the way, mental syntax is the order in which you fire off messages in your brain. So if I think about my mental syntax for, like, making money, my first question that I ask and seek an answer for is, what's the problem? Mm-hmm. Second question I ask is, what is the pain of the problem? The next question I ask, what is the prescription for the pain? The next question that I ask is, what's the payoff for the patient? Not for me. What's the payoff for them? I don't have to worry about how much I'm going to get paid ever. You know why? I obsess over your problem and obsess over your payoff. So I don't have to worry about how much I'm going to get paid. I am always going to make lots of money by the grace of God. Why? Because I'm always going to obsess over other people's problems instead of my own. It's so, like, that is, that, and I know, like, Pastor, like, do you want to do this or this? I want to do whatever serves you. And I know you probably, that answer sounds like, what? Come on, bro. But really, that's why I'm here. I didn't come here I had no agenda when I came here except serve this man and these people. That's it. And so now, that frees me up. Because I don't have an agenda. I don't have, like, I brought some books, but I wasn't going to, but he asked me to. I brought some books. Like, I wasn't coming here to sell books. I was just coming here, serve the pastor and serve the people. That's why I came. That's why I'm here. And so, when I think about my syntax, I think about what's their payoff. And then, once I figure all that out, then I have to ask myself, is it worth it for me to provide the solution? And if it's not, then, I'll keep all that stuff on my Now You Know file, but, I'm not going to do anything with it because all money is not good. All good money ain't good. Okay. Right? There's some good money, and not meaning that you have to do something evil, but you have to do something that's not worth it to you. People want to talk to me about stuff that makes money all the time. Hey, Myron, got this really great opportunity for you to make some money. Doing what? Yeah, and you can make $100,000 a month. I don't care. I don't want to do it. It's a distraction. Does that make sense? So that's my syntax. My belief system is everything's possible. And if it's possible for me. If somebody else did it, it can be done. If it can be done, I can do it. Right? It literally doesn't matter. Now, is it possible that I'm wrong? According to somebody. Right? But I literally believe anything I desire to do, it's been done, it's been figured out, it's figure-outable, I can figure it out. If I'm willing to become the person, once I figure out, like, who I have to become, I'll be able to do the thing. So that's my belief system. My belief is that the biggest waste of energy that exists on planet Earth is expecting outcomes you don't desire. And most people have so much practice expecting undesirable outcomes and almost no practice expecting desirable outcomes that most people take their past experience, project it on the screen of their future, recreate the past, and think they're living in the present. But they're really living Groundhog Day. So that's my belief system about belief. And belief it's the underpinning, it's the fuel for all transformation. The reason people quit is because they no longer have the ability to believe that it will work for them. And my physiology is the physiology of one who knows who he is based on whose he is. So I'm not intimidatable. I'm not intimidated if I'm in I play the guitar, right? But I'm not intimidated when I'm in the presence of somebody who plays the guitar better than me, because playing the guitar is not my assignment. I'm not intimidated when I'm in the presence of somebody who has more money than me, because their money serves their purposes and my money serves my purposes according to which God made me for. So I have plenty of money to fulfill my assignment, and I'm sure by the grace of God I'll make plenty more. That's fine. But I have no stress around it. Like, my physiology is one, this is the best way I can describe it. Y'all ready? My physiology is a physiology of freedom. May I give you the best definition of freedom that I've ever been able to come to? It's when you get to the place you have nothing to prove, you have nothing to lose, you have nothing to gain, and you have nothing to hide. Congratulations, you're free.
You're free.
So that's my physiology. I'm not walking around hoping they don't find out. I'm not walking around needing them to believe something about me. I'm not walking around hoping I can get something that someone else has. I'm not walking around worried about losing what I have. Because everything I have is already God's anyway. And if he wants me to keep it, I'll keep it. If he doesn't want me to keep it, I don't want it. See, if we can get to the place in our lives where we realize anything that is for us will be ours and no one can stop it. And anything that's not for us, no one can get it to us. And if they could, we wouldn't want it anyhow. If we could get to that place in our lives, it's on like popcorn. Was that helpful, Arthur?
Absolutely. Thanks, Coach. Hey, I told you about Omaha.
You told me.
I told you.
You told me. I was like, I don't know, bro. I ain't feeling Omaha. I'm feeling Omaha. Okay, I'm just saying, I'm feeling Omaha.
Okay, so how should we be using artificial intelligence in today's
I'm sorry,
society?
say how what?
How should we be using artificial intelligence in today's society? How has it impacted our world? What changes have you seen?
With vigilance, you should be learning artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence makes the last thing I said even more true. Everything's available to everyone, which means everything's possible for everyone. There's nothing you would like to be able to do that you can't do. So you have to figure out what your objective is and what problem you're going to solve, and then use AI as a research development tool and as a think tank partner to figure out what solutions you should create for what problem of a group of people that exists in the world. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so, how many of you, and this is a judgment-free zone. How many of you don't know how to use AI yet? You don't know how to use it. I'm good. So all of you know how to use it. I don't have to tell you how to use it then, because you already know. Use AI. And what's really cool, is there anybody who would like me to teach them how to use AI? Like I have an AI project that I'm working on that will be $1 billion one-man operation, $1 billion a year, easily. It might even be more than $1 billion a year, one-man operation. So, would y'all like me to tell you how to use it? Oh, okay. Get AI to teach you how to use AI. That sounds like an oversimplification. It's not. Literally sit down with ChatGPT and say, okay, ChatGPT, this is what I do. This is who I do it for. This is how much money it makes me. Teach me how to use AI to do what I do better and serve more people, so I can make a bigger impact and a greater income. Find that. And then just keep doing it. And then every time it tells you to do something that you don't know how to do, ask it to teach you how to do that. If you're working on a video project and you don't know what AI to use for a video project, ask ChatGPT, what are the best AI video platforms to accomplish X, Y, Z in video? If you're working on audio, same thing. It doesn't matter. Like, human beings have created, like, powerful computing systems and solutions that save us so much time, effort, energy, and money if we understand how to utilize them. Is that helpful?
Very.
All right.
Thank you.
Good stuff. You're welcome.
Hi, Dr. Golden.
Hey, Doc.
How would you reverse that miseducation, that brainwashing of a young college graduate who just maybe graduated from a top 10 university, and the work that he does requires maybe $100 million equipment, so he thinks, well, how am I going to become my own
It requires $100 million what?
equipment?
Okay.
Because the work is so high tech.
Okay.
It requires a lot of, really costly equipment. So he asked, well, how can I be an entrepreneur? I don't have $100 million to buy these kind of equipments. So they brainwash them to think that they have to stay in academia for life.
Right. That's what it's right. And that's and the reason they keep them in academia for life is so they can keep them in debt for life. And the majority of college graduates cannot find a job in the field they went to school for, and they can't make enough money to pay off their college debts in any reasonable time. So they're head over heels in debt before they even get their life started. It's such a crime against young people. Anyway, that's another conversation for a different day. What I would do is are you talking about somebody that's in your family or no? Okay. What I would do is I would find a wealth creation mastermind and join that with your son or daughter or whoever that is, and then learn how, put them in an environment that can deprogram them. And first and foremost, even more than that, pray for them like nobody's business. Because here's what the scripture says: except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Except the Lord keep the city, the watchman waketh but in vain. The only one who can change anybody's heart is God. So hopefully that was helpful.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
So my question is, how can I build a brand that outlasts trends and become known in my region as the go-to for curated events?
For curating events?
Yes, I'm an
Okay.
event planner, and I have an event rental business.
And you have a what business?
Event rentals, like tables, chairs,
Oh, okay.
backdrops.
Do you have event spaces as well that you rent?
I don't have any event space, but I do have a warehouse where it holds all of my rentals.
And you own the warehouse?
I rent out the warehouse.
You went to, so, you can tell me you'd rather not say, and I'm good with that, okay? How much revenue did your business do last year?
Last year, I did about $30,000. I also work full-time
Wow.
as well.
Okay, what's your full-time job?
I work for JP Morgan Chase as a lending solution specialist.
Okay, cool. So a couple things. Being an event planner is great, but if you become an event experience coordinator, and I know that's just words. No, it's not. If you can become an event experience coordinator, you can charge way more money than an event planner. So if you think about, you said, how can I build a brand? First, you have to define what a brand is. Now, my belief is that a brand is a name. It's a name that reminds you of a story. That's what a brand is. Somebody says Mercedes, it reminds you of a story. Oh, that's a luxury car for people who have lots of money. Doesn't mean that's what it is, but that's the story you think of when somebody says Mercedes. Oh, Rolex. Oh, yeah, that's a really expensive watch that rich people. Well, maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. I don't know, but that's the story people think of. So your brand is the name that reminds people of a story. A positive brand is a name that reminds you of a story that you'd like to see yourself in. Very good. A premium brand is a name that reminds you of a story that you'd be willing to pay a lot of money to see yourself in. Okay? And the reason people buy products from premium brands is because what they're doing is they're buying brand equity from somebody who has a brand to build their own brand equity. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you have to figure out what is the story that you want people to think of when they think of the name of your brand. And you reverse engineer it and build it backwards. You reverse engineer it, and then you build backwards from the brand. By the way, there is nothing that I've been an entrepreneur since I was 25 years old. I'm 64. So that's, oh man, wow, that was a long time. I just had a moment. Give me a minute. Okay, so that's 39 years. That's a long time to be doing something. And guess what? I have discovered that there is nothing that you can do that will catapult your business into the stratosphere that works better than building a brand in general, and in particular, a personal brand. Now, I'm going to give you, like if you were one of my clients, I'm going to give you the insight or the advice that I would give you if you were one of my clients, one of my high-paying clients, if you're okay with that.
I'm okay with it.
Okay. So, you work at JP Morgan Chase Bank.
Yes, 17 years.
For 17 years as a lending what?
Solution specialist.
A lending solution specialist. I would take that expertise and turn it into a course. And I would give the course a name, because the course name is going to be a brand. I'd give that course a name something like A+ credit for anyone who's serious. And I would make that course somewhere between $497 and $1,997. And I would do a webinar every week until I got it like locked and loaded, and run traffic to that webinar, and then sell that course. It will free you from that job. And then what you'll be able to do, now, I'm just thinking about what I would do, or if you were my little sister, this is what I would tell you.
I love it.
Okay.
I need this.
And so what I would do is, once you start selling that course, then instead of only planning other people's events, go buy an event space that you can lease out to people. And then you can provide them with the space and the stuff to go in the space.
Right.
And then you become their event experience coordinator. But because you own the building, when you want to do an immersive mastermind for the people who bought your course, so that you can sell them into your next solution for them, you have your own space in which to do it. And money is no longer a problem. Because after you do that webinar long enough, you're going to get locked and loaded. When you do that, you put it on rinse and repeat, and you turn it into an automated or on-demand webinar, you just run traffic to it. I had a lady in my mastermind. Some of y'all probably, have any of you heard of Invest Diva? Kiana Danielle? So Kiana was in my mastermind. Kiana had a webinar with a $2,000 offer, an automated webinar. She wasn't doing a webinar. She had an automated webinar with a $2,000 offer. It was doing $1 million a month. So I'm not giving you theory. This stuff works. I would like to see all of you get to the place in your life where you can believe that money is the thing that comes to you as a result of the person you've become. Mm-hmm. Instead of thinking, how can I go trade a little bit more of my limited amount of time for a depreciating asset called money? So was that helpful-ish?
Very helpful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, Dr. Golden. My name is Candace Price.
Hey, Candace.
Hi, and my question is twofold. So the first part is the physiology that you talked through during Arthur's question. Did you have that exact same mindset before you had money?
That's how I got the money.
Okay.
I developed that mindset, and that mindset is what got me the money. I didn't have it, but guess what? I got around people who did have it, and I adapted and adopted it because mine wasn't working.
So you learned it?
I learned it. Oh, 100%. Okay. And my first mentor was a guy named Jerry Clark out of Dallas, Texas. And he was so brilliant in how he helped me figure things out. I didn't even realize how negative I was until Jerry. And he was teaching in a seminar one day. Because he would always say, hey, what's up, Big Money Myron? I say, I'm not the big money, you're the big money. What's up, big money, Myron? I'm not the big money, you're the big money. Like, because I learned to deflect when somebody said something empowering to me or something encouraging to me, right? Man, I love that suit. Oh, this old thing. And so Jerry's teaching one day, and he says, y'all in here pretending y'all want to get rich, but you can't even receive a compliment. How you going to receive some money? I'm like, he's talking to me. He's like, somebody says, and he didn't use, hey, what's up, big money? You say, no, not me. Like, you can't even receive a compliment because you want people to think you're humble. Stop worrying about what people think. It doesn't matter. It doesn't add anything to you. It can't take anything from you. Just don't. It doesn't matter. I know for a fact, if somebody doesn't know me, it's probably relatively easy for them to think that I'm arrogant. And I don't want people to think I'm arrogant, but I also don't care. Because I know, between me and God, I don't think I'm better than anybody who's ever existed on planet Earth. So I already know I'm not arrogant. I know that everything that I have is a gift for everything good in my life, and everything that feels bad in my life is a gift from God. I am not confused. So if somebody thinks I'm arrogant, either they'll spend as little time around me as possible, or they'll spend enough time around me to find out that their conclusion was erroneous. Either way, I'm okay with it. So does that make sense?
It absolutely does. Thank you.
And the second part of your question
my second question actually stems from Dr. Martin, what he was teaching as far as doing well than doing good. And I was talking to my business partner, Ron, who's up front, and saying we've absolutely had it backwards, and we've known that. We've always looked to do good, then do well. So we own a car dealership, but we spend a lot of our time giving and doing. So I think my question around that would be, how do you start, or where do you start to go from an offer for something that you've been giving for free, right, your time and service and coaching, when a lot of your clientele or those you want to serve don't have money?
Do you want to go or you want me to go? Because you look like you want to go.
I'm sitting with wisdom.
I'm gonna help you all understand something that probably nobody's ever shared with you in your life. Believing that just because somebody else doesn't have the money means that you have to give them something for free is one of the most condescending things you can think about another human being. Because I'm going to ask you a question, Candace.
Yes.
Has there ever been a time in your life where you didn't have the money to do something that you really desired to do?
Absolutely.
Did you figure out how to come up with the money?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So what is it that makes you feel like they can't do what you did, so you have to give it to them? We think giving people something for free helps them. You know what it does? It helps them believe in their limitations.
Okay.
I'm not going to pretend like I do not believe in the construct of can't afford it. Can't afford it is not a real concept. Can't afford it is a construct. I'm going to prove it to you right now. Everybody ready? Say I'm ready.
Ready.
How many of you in here have ever desired something you didn't have the money for? Raise your hand nice and high. You desired something you didn't have the money for. And keep your hand up if you figured out a way to buy it anyway. Oh, okay. I didn't see one hand go down. Okay, watch this now. You know what that proves? I can't afford it is not a real concept. It's a construct. It's a construct that people use as an excuse when what they really mean is, this is not important enough to me to figure it out.
Well, it's not something that I charge for or start out. So it's not something that they're saying, yes or no, but the people that we work with, because of the field that we're in, we are aware they don't have money.
Right.
So
How are you
saying
aware-
just
I'm
begin
sorry.
to charge anyway?
How are you aware they don't have money?
Because we literally get to look at their credit and their finances and their income through
Okay,
what
gotcha.
we do.
Okay, that makes sense. And so you're saying you help them repair their credit and get their finances in order.
We help them with other things that they're needing, such as starting a business, other coaching that they're needing, personal life coaching, and services that we offer that we just give. If they
Okay,
come in,
so-
they're needing something, we do our best to serve them.
Can I ask you a question? And maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm going to be. Is the success rate on people who follow through from now on really, really low?
Say the question again. The
Is
success
the
rate for the people
success
that we have
rate-
worked with?
Yes.
No, I wouldn't say it's really low. I would just say that we do not always have time to continue to follow through with them.
Right. But see, when you...
So that's not
But
a
here's
service.
here's a belief you have that I believe is erroneous.
Okay.
That in order for them to win, you have to help them. Like, I used to believe the same thing, so I ain't judging you, sis. I was
No, I don't feel bad about. I'm
I
here
was
for-
there.
Yes.
But here's the thing I realized. One day, when I'm trying to solve everybody's problems, I realized, well, you know, I can't want to solve their problem more than they want to solve their problem. And then I realized, wait a minute, Jesus is the only Savior. And I need to stop trying to save people.
So if I hear you right, just simply say no.
Oh,
And move
and,
on.
and guess what? No is a complete sentence. Yes, ma'am. Say no. And then you can say no, but you can say more than no. You can say no, but here's the book that I would recommend you read. Go read it and come back and talk to me. And when they come back the next time, recommend another book. Don't fix people's problems. Perfect biblical example. 2 Kings chapter 4. Now there cried a certain woman to the wives of the sons of the prophets unto Elisha, saying, Thy servant, my husband, is dead, and thou knowest that thy servant did fear the Lord. And now the creditors come to take unto him my 2 sons to be bondmen. And Elisha said unto her, What shall I do for thee? Tell me, what hast thou in the house? You know what he said? What do you want me to do about it? Tell me what you've done to start fixing the problem. The most important thing we can help people do is to become the person who can do the thing. Hopefully that's helpful, Candace.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll add one thing. I learned in what I do, and I think we have enough questions. Okay, so.
But they got 2 more. Can we
Yeah,
do those
yeah.
last
I'm
2?
saying the ones that are standing up there. Those are our last questions.
Okay, cool.
What I learned was I had a lot of no people around me. I had to look for some new yes people.
Come on here.
My circle was church people. My circle was people who knew me and I kind of knew them or they knew somebody. I had to go after different people who did not know me, but they knew that I could answer their problem. So that I could do well, so that I could do good.
When I started my business, my very first offer was $67. My very first offer on the internet was a $67 offer. When I made my website, I made up my mind, man, if I can make $400 my first month on the internet, this is going to be amazing. If I make $700, I will be the king of internet marketing mountain in no time. I launched my little $67 product and I didn't make $400. And I didn't make $700. I made $6,700 my first month selling something on the internet. The reason I'm telling you that story is some of us, because we can't see further than we can see, we start our pricing model off way too low. So I have clients now. I literally have clients who've paid me $1 million for a year of coaching. So anyway, hopefully that's helpful.
All right, I have another question. The last one you answered, but I have another one.
Cool.
If you have a business that's a service, when do you offer a product or a brand to the market?
I would offer a product as soon as possible to free up my time. See, because if you have a service, every time you sell the service, it requires time to fulfill it. You have a limited amount of time. So if you have a service-based business, you have created a business that can only produce a limited amount of wealth. Unless you take a part of that business and you productize it. Like Taco Bell is in the service of making tacos. But they also sell their taco chips, whatever they're called, and their taco sauce at Publix or the grocery store, whatever grocery stores y'all have here in Omaha, right? They sell their taco sauce. So figure out a part of your service that you can turn into a product and how to sell that product. That's what I would do. Is that helpful?
Yes. I have that process going on now.
Yes, sir. Start doing it ASAP.
Hi, thank you. I just have a quick question. So my question is, what are some strategies to scale your business?
Oh, there are only 4.
Okay, and what are those?
Yeah, there are only 4 strategies to scale the business. If your business isn't growing, there's one of 4 reasons. Lead generation, lead conversion, customer ascension, customer retention. That's it. Literally, my entire multi-million-dollar consulting business is built on those 4 things. So a person pays me $375,000.
Wow.
They come to me, our very first session. Let's say they want 2 hours of their 8 hours. How many leads did you generate last month? They tell me. If it's less than, like, if they're making $1 million a year, they probably generated 1,000 leads last month. If they're generating less than 1,000 leads, they're probably making less than $1 million a year. Because lead generation gives you somebody to sell stuff to. And one of the biggest problems new businesses have is they run out of people to sell stuff to. Okay? So lead generation. Lead conversion. What does that mean? Lead conversion means you convert them from a lead into a customer or a client. So you sell them something. Mm-hmm. Which means you have to have something to sell them. The reason you convert them from a lead to a customer is not so you can make money. The reason you convert them from a lead to a customer is because it's easier to sell a customer than it is to sell a lead. Hence, we have the next phase, customer ascension. What does that mean? We create a more premium offer for them because we realize that every solution I create for a client creates 10 new problems. What does that mean? Have any of you ever bought tires for your car? Anybody? Nobody else has bought tires for their car? Okay. But do you know why you bought tires for your car? Because you have a car. If you wouldn't have bought the car, you'd have never had to buy the tires. So the car was a solution that created the problem of needing tires, and the problem of needing gas, and the problem of needing the oil change, and the problem of needing insurance. So do you see how every solution creates 10 new problems? Well, if I know that every solution creates 10 new problems, when I create a new solution, I can anticipate what problems that solution is going to create and create the solutions for those problems before the person even experiences them. So when they start experiencing the problem, I already have the solution for those, and I can sell them the solution for those products for 10 times my core product or my lead conversion offer. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, so now I've got customer ascension with a premium value offer. And then the last one is customer retention. What is that? I get the customer to come back and buy from me more and more often. The best way to do that is through a concept called continuity, which means I sell them the product once, but they pay me for it from now on. What would be a good continuity product? Well, a newsletter, a membership site, software as a service, or in-house financing. All of those are good. I have built a business. One of the reasons I don't have to, like our payroll's $100,000 a month, right, for our company, but our continuity's like $220,000, $240,000 a month. So if I don't do anything, I don't have to worry about payroll. Why? Because I put systems in place where my business has scaled and is scaling to points where money is not a thing that we have to be overly concerned about. So, and what happens when people are so overly concerned about money, what oftentimes they do is they shrink to the amount of money they're used to instead of stepping into the amount of money that's available for them. So hopefully that was helpful.
It was good. It was great. But when I'm saying scaling, I mean you got 10 employees, but you're trying to scale it and manage it alone.
Right.
So how do you do that?
Yeah.
So
okay, but if you got 10 employees and what do you mean you're managing it alone if you have 10 employees?
Well, I mean, I'm managing
you're managing the employees.
I'm managing the business. I have people over the employees, but it's just one person running the business that didn't know how to run a business, but now I have a
that's
business
the problem.
and I'm doing good in the business and it's scaling, but
the problem
I can only do so much by myself.
The problem. So what you do is you hire somebody who's good at what you're bad at, and what you're bad at is managing the business. But I'm not talking about you. Maybe it wasn't you, but I was bad at managing my business. I'm just telling you, I was terrible at it. There's no shade in that. I am not good at managing people in a business. I don't want to do that. I don't like anything that requires me to go to work and start doing this. I don't want to do it. It's not me. It's not my vibe. So guess what I did? I hired a CEO who's great at building systems. and who's great at managing people, and great at coming up with job roles, and great at creating hiring protocols, and great at creating systems for creating standard operating procedures for everyone who works for me. So I hired somebody and paid them accordingly. It's my daughter, but even if it weren't my daughter, I was looking at somebody else, and I said, well, it's either going to be this person or it's going to be my daughter. And like, because this is not something I'm good at, and I don't want to do it. And so, see, do you understand that when we begin to understand that it's all about people, then the money becomes a tool to serve and love the people. But I have to love and serve the people who work for me so that we all can love and serve the people who are our clients, right? And so hire A players and put them in A spaces in your business, and all of that stress will go away the stress that you carry will go away in an instant. Because now you're paying them to carry it. But they won't carry it long, they'll just fix it. And they'll fire who needs to be fired, hire who needs to be fired, put systems in place that make the business run more smoothly. And it's not going to be fun, but it's going to be so worth it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I have one question, and that is, a lot of us are very comfortable where we are. So, Doc, I want to ask you, what's one practical challenge would you give us that pushes us out of our comfort zone and help us set up for success?
Yeah. Stop focusing on making yourself comfortable. Start figuring out how to make 100 people comfortable, 1,000 people comfortable, 10,000 people comfortable. Figure out how you can create enough wealth to solve somebody else's problem. You know, I'm so thankful that when my brother came to Tampa for one of my events, and he got sick. He started throwing up, and he just didn't get any better. Went to the doctors. He had an intestinal band, had to have intestinal surgery, was in the hospital for 10 days in Tampa, and he lives in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. My brother, and he's a pastor. He and his wife, they're there for and he's in the hospital. He lost so much weight, and he wasn't big to begin with. He was like 160 pounds to begin with. Now he's down to like 100. And so he gets out of the hospital. It's time for him to go back home. There's no universe in any galaxy that ever existed that I want my brother, who I love like I love my own life, to get on an airplane on We Will Inconvenience You at Our Convenience Airlines and have some clumsy person drop a suitcase on his incision. So I just chartered a jet for him and his wife to go back home because I could. Like, I live in Tampa, Florida right now. I live in a house, I live in a house that's like, it's a little house, but it's nice. 3,500 square feet that me and my wife bought in 2016. And it's just her and I. And it's got what had 5 bedrooms, but now it only has 3 because I took one of them and turned it into my biohacking room, and another one turned it into my green room that I used to film stuff in before I bought my office and my studio. And so we bought a new house in December of last year, and we're having it renovated, and we're moving in at the end of this month. People say, are you going to sell the house you're in now? Oh, no, I'm not selling the house. Why would I sell? I don't sell my real estate. I keep it. What are you going to do with it? You going to rent it out? No, I'm not renting my house out. I don't want anybody in there messing it up. What you going to do? Well, I'm going to turn it into a content house. I'm going to shoot content there. And then when people in my family come to town, like they're going to do for Thanksgiving by the droves, because I have 6 brothers and 47,500 nieces and nephews, they don't have to say, I can't come because it'll cost too much to rent an Airbnb. You don't have to rent an Airbnb. I have a guest house. Like, figure out how you can solve problems for more people than just you. It changes everything. Does that make sense? So, and by the way, a lot of people think they're comfortable where they are right now because they don't know what comfort feels like. Mm-hmm. That's like I thought I don't know if y'all remember I told y'all last night I was making $30,000 a month. I thought I was a baller. Child, please. I don't want to have a $30,000 week. If more than a day goes by and we generate less than $30,000, we messed up somewhere. And by the way, there's stuff that's currently outside my current spending comfort level. But there's nothing I desire to do that's outside my current spending comfort level. Because if there was, then I'd go create an offer. And I'd make the offer, and then it would no longer be outside my current spending comfort level. So make your vision bigger. Trust God for bigger things. And go find out what comfort really feels like. Is that helpful? Appreciate you, sister.
Okay, you just said something. Can you explain that?
Which one?
The last statement about
People don't understand comfort until they get to comfort.
Right. Is that part?
No, there was a part after that. Yes.
Yeah.
And listen, y'all can leave, but this was my only question. So
So
I need to know this answer.
yeah. The biggest problem, I think she wants you to repeat your question.
I don't even know what I'm asking.
He's asking, what do I mean when I say believe, like expand your vision and believe God for bigger things? Some of us only have a vision for doing things that we already believe are possible. Right? Hey, God, can you do this thing that I could do? I don't feel like it. I mean, it's not quite that bad, but kind of. Like, I believe this is possible, so this is what I'm going to trust God for. Trust God for the possible? What is that? What about doing something outlandish that feels impossible right now? Feels farther away from you than Los Angeles is from New York City. A vision that big. Well, I'm just telling you, like, God can do more, bigger, better, faster things than you have the ability to conceive. Stop limiting God with your unbelief. He put you here. He made you in his great image, which means you are already great. Now you got to go serve people at a great level because Jesus said he will be greatest among you. Let him be your servant. So seek to figure out how to serve more people by solving bigger and more problems for bigger groups of people. And if you'll do that, money? Money. It's just money. It's literally just money. And so what will happen is you'll start to stretch vision. I know for a fact, like when I come into this building and I see the level of precision and detail throughout this space, I can see clearly that this gentleman right here to my left has a vision that's way bigger than him. So you want a vision that can wear one of your suits because it's the same size as you. But that's not going to impact the world. The vision that's going to impact the world is the one that feels impossible. And without God, it is impossible. But with God, nothing is impossible. Did that clarify it, Pastor?
Mm-hmm. I'm dealing with the feeling that what you just described, all of us do. We all do this during the day. We have this idea that pops in our head and it's so big, it's so awesome, but it only lasts there for a couple seconds.
Right, because we talk ourselves out of it almost immediately. Yeah. Yeah, stop doing that.
Stop doing that.
Stop it.
What do you do instead?
Ask questions. Oh, that's impossible. But what if it were possible? What would it look like? Who would I have to recruit to assist me? Where could the money come from?
I wonder if there's anybody else out there thinking about this.
Exactly. But most people are terrible at asking questions. Do an exercise with your husband, your wife, your sister, your brother, or one of your kids when you go home tonight. Do an exercise. Play how many questions can you ask game. And see how many questions you can ask in a row before you run out of questions. For most people, It's less than 10. I don't want to play the game with you because I'd never run out of questions. I just wouldn't. Because questions are the answer. That's why Jesus taught with questions and helped people come to the conclusion of the answer. Does that make sense?
It does. What a day.
What a day. What a day. What an amazing day.